need someone to tell me if I'm being selfish and stuck up or if I'm actually valid for what I'm thinking, so please give me some advice. My boyfriend and I are entertaining the thought of moving in together in April. That's something that we both really want. And we've had a couple conversations about what that will look like, and we had another conversation tonight about financials because that's like a very big aspect. I need someone to
She and her boyfriend are planning on moving in together. She has her own space, he has his own space, but then they want to move in together. And the man was like, he's bending on, we must do 50-50. We must do 50-50. Mind you, he's earning more than her. So she's trying to tell him that we can't achieve this 50-50 because you're earning more than me and it doesn't actually make sense. We can be doing some payments, that makes sense, but we cannot go exactly at 50-50. But he's still insisting on, see, if you want to stay with me, you're going to do 50-50. Let's watch this video together, then I'll share my thoughts at the end of the video. But I'd like to know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section, respectfully.
tell me if I'm being selfish and stuck up or if I'm actually valid for what I'm thinking, so please give me some advice. My boyfriend and I are entertaining the thought of moving in together in April. That's something that we both really want. And we've had a couple conversations about what that will look like, and we had another conversation tonight about financials because that's like a very big aspect of this. And we've had one other conversations about this, and basically we were like, oh, maybe 50-50, and we kind of bounced that idea around. But that idea did never really sat right with me because I make way less than him, which is like totally fine. Like, I'm happy that he's getting his bag, but I like, if we did 50-50, I'd be put way more out than he would. But then I think he still expects everything else to be 50-50, and like for me and my paycheck, that just won't work. So tonight I was like, hey, like, what do you think if we, or like when we moved together, if we did things by income and kind of split things up that way? Not that it would be like a major difference. And so when I brought up the idea to him, he was like, I thought we were doing 50-50. And I was like, I don't think I was super set on that, but like, I mean, it would make sense. It's like the first idea, like, yeah, when you move in together, everything you split evenly. But I think splitting things evenly can look different and not necessarily a straight line down the middle. Everything is 50-50. And so I kind of explained to him, like, my income is lower than yours. And, like, me moving in with you is not, like, a money ploy. It's not to, like, oh, I want to be financially dependent on you. I'm moving in with you. Like, you get to pay for everything. Like, that's not where I'm headed. I've been able to support myself on my own in my own apartment for like a year and a half now, and I've been very happy, and it's worked out very well, and I've been okay. But like moving in with someone, I would hope that rent would be cheaper and not only like $200 cheaper. I'm a server, and while you can get your bag, it's like hard in this economy because everything's so fucking expensive. Anyways, and he like kind of gave me a weird look, and he was like, I would rather we just do 50-50. And I was like, I hope you understand that 50-50 isn't actually 50-50 like for us. Like, it still puts you at a much higher advantage. Like, I don't want this to sound selfish. And he was like, well, why do you want to move in with me? And like, is it like a money thing? And I was like, no, it's not a money thing. Like, I love you. Like, I want to see our compatibility. I want to grow with you. Like, I just feel like it'd be fair to make things more like of an even playing field if we did it this way. And he was like, I'll think about it, but like, I don't really know if I like that. And while I can totally understand, like, that is totally valid, like, to want to do things 50-50, but our incomes are different, so it's not really 50-50. Like, one of us has put way more out than the other. And in my head, I'm not comfortable with that, and I expressed that to him. And I also told him that his feelings were totally valid and like not wanting to do that. However, I told him that makes me like, there's, to me, it doesn't show a huge sense of like care, respect, and compromise. I know he cares about me, I know he loves me, and the thing is, we're working on marriage, and he is totally fine being a sole provider in the future. And I was like, what's the problem with practicing a little give and ebb like now? And he was like, well, we're just boyfriend and girlfriend. And I was like, so that was kind of like a, ooh, like, yeah, like, I understand that boyfriend, girlfriend's not engaged, it's not married, but you're still my partner, you're my person. So we'll come back to that when we come back to that. He asked me, he was like, what if situations were reversed? And I was like, I would absolutely do this for you. Also, to add on, he's been living rent-free for the last 2 years, getting a very substantial paycheck every month for the last 2 years. I know he has savings. I'm not asking him to dig into his savings. I'm not asking him to spend his whole life savings on us moving in together. But a little give, like, would be nice. So then it's more of like an even playing field for us. Is that selfish? Is it valid? Someone please tell me.
Number one problem that I just sense in this whole thing, number one biggest problem, is the fact that you want to leave your space and go and live with him. Why? I feel like the biggest problem, in fact, you and your boyfriend, you don't have problem. Oh. But the moment you want to start living together, you are creating problem for yourself. You have your own space, in as much as he's earning more than you. Whatever money you're earning, you can take care of yourself. You've been staying alone for a year and a year plus. You're okay. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. So why do you want to stress yourself and say, okay, you want to see how it is to live with him because you're in love with him. He loves you as well. You want to live with him. I just feel like that's the biggest mistake or biggest mistake for couples to do. Moving in together, especially the ones that are staying separately on their own. As a woman, you're going to regret it. So now he's already telling you that if you want to move in with me, you have to pay 50-50, but you have to split the bills equally. In as much as he knows that he's earning more than you, that's another big red flag. It's telling you that you moving with me is a privilege for you. So you have to also pay the bills. And I just feel like she asking that, is she selfish to think that way? I don't think she's selfish. But then let me know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. I have free reaction on this video. Let's watch this video together. Then I'll share my thoughts at the end of the video.
And we had another conversation tonight about financials because that's like a very big aspect of this. And we've had
So the question was, is she selfish for not wanting to follow the exact definition of 50-50 in her relationship? And I would say no. And I can give a little dumbed down example to see the ridiculousness of exact 50-50 in relationships, especially one with a big income difference. In this example, we're just going to focus on rent. I know there's lots of bills people need to pay for, but just focusing on rent to make it super easy. Let's say I make $2,000 a month, but my boyfriend makes $1,000 a month, and our rent is $1,000. There's so many ways you could split that fairly and equitably. However, I don't think it's fair or equitable for me to ask that my boyfriend spends half of his monthly income just on rent. And that's just rent. There's so many other bills, a phone bill, electricity bill, groceries. That's just rent that he's spending half of his income on. That disparity is so unfair. At the end of the month, after splitting all of the bills, he might be left with $20 at the end of the month while I'm still left with a couple hundred. That is unfair. You do have to be a tiny bit selfish when you're in these situations. Because yes, build that relationship, build that partnership, and care about your partner. But also, what about me? I won't be able to buy the things I want and need if I'm spending all of my income to split 50-50 bills with my boyfriend. And of course, I'm not saying that you should go to your partner and be like, I want to go shopping, so I don't want to pay the bills this month, you got to pay them. I'm just saying, when it comes to replacing clothes and toiletries and everything, that costs money. And if I spent all of my money on rent and bills because you wanted to split it 50-50 with me, I'm fucked. I have holes in my shoes, but I can't replace them because I spent all my money trying to keep up with you. In situations where your partner makes so much more than you, yeah, they want to be equal and 50-50 so they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of, but they also need to think of you. They need to be like, my girlfriend has $50 at the end of the month because she's been trying to keep up with me. I should be keeping up with her. We need to live in her means, you know?
I need someone to tell me if I'm being selfish and stuck up or if I'm actually valid for what I'm thinking, so please give me some advice. My boyfriend and I are entertaining the thought of moving in together in April. That's something that we both really want. And we've had a couple conversations about what that will look like, and we had another conversation tonight about financials.
If roles were reversed and it was the man that was making a lot less money, I would very easily come sliding in here and tell you guys, no, 50-50 is not fair. If she is making a lot more money and they have decided on a certain lifestyle because they're living in a certain place that costs a certain rent, it's not quite fair to put more pressure on the person that's making less money. But because it's actually the man that's making more money and it's the woman that's making less, guess what I'm going to tell you? The same thing. Unless the person that is making less money, whether that is the man or the woman, if they are not comfortable with the amount that rent costs and they're not really agreeable to it because of the 50-50 split, it's not really fair to pressure them into paying that to be in a relationship with you. I'm glad that this woman is bringing attention to it. I'm glad that she's talking about it because I think it's a very healthy conversation. But what's unfortunate is that for men to talk about it, they're actually shamed because too many women out there, no matter how much more money they're making, they are going to shame a man that is making less money and that is not willing to contribute 50-50 or is not capable really of contributing 50-50. Because too many women, no matter how much more money they are making than the man, they still have this old school thought that the man should pay for everything or at least 50-50, which honestly is going to become more and more difficult as time goes on and women keep making more.
So I reposted it. There's this video of this girl who's asking if she's wrong that she wants to move in with her partner, and they originally suggested doing 50-50, but when she thought about it a little bit more, it didn't really make any sense because he makes way more than she does, and she wouldn't be paying very much less than what she's paying right now to stay alone. And when she brought it up to him saying, hey, let's base it off income, not like, oh, you pay way more and I pay way less. Let's just base it off our income so we both benefit equally from moving in. And sure enough, here he goes with asking, oh, is it a financial thing? Are you trying to get money? It's like, no, I'm not trying to, take all your money or be inconsiderate, but it just doesn't really make sense to me. Here's the reason why it doesn't make sense to you. It's because you can sense that something is wrong, but the love you have for him is trying to ignore it. Because of how much you love him, even though your sixth sense is telling you, hey, red flags, do not proceed, do not pass go, don't do this, your love is telling you know what? Let's just ignore that. So you're conflicted. So let me give you a perfect example. When I was with my ex, it turned from we each paid for our own stuff to I basically paid for everything because he felt like, he could do whatever he wanted. He is one of those men who ended up hating me, and he was also very verbally, all types of abusive, all that good stuff, right? Fast forward to me being with my husband. He didn't let me pay for nothing. I didn't have to ask to pay for nothing. There was no 50-50. I moved in with him. He paid for everything, even though, mind you, we were making the same amount of money when we moved in. We were making the same amount of money when we moved in together. So the problem is his love for you should fully understand, accept, and comprehend the fact that not only is what you're saying very logical, because I'm not going to assume he makes buttloads of money, but let's say he's just kind of getting by. His love for you should make complete sense that y'all should base what y'all pay off of income. But his red pill mentality and his need to want to save his riches from gold diggers is superseding his love for you. So take that as you will, okay?
I need someone to tell me if I'm being selfish and stuck up or if I'm actually valid for what I'm thinking, so please give me some advice. My boyfriend and I are entertaining the thought of moving in together in April. That's something that we both really want. We've had a couple conversations about what that will look like, and he kind of gave me a weird look, and he was like, I would rather we just do 50-50, and I was like, I hope you understand that 50-50 isn't actually 50-50, for us. It still puts you at a much higher advantage. I don't want this to sound selfish.
Allowed to have his own boundaries, right? I mean, he told you straight up to your face, I want to be a sole provider in the future for my wife. But you're right now, you are my girlfriend. Just as much as a woman can have her own boundaries, hey, I'm not going to do this, this, and this, and this before we are married, and they stand on that. That's reasonable. It's 100%. If you really have an issue with it, I would 100% just stay in your own apartment. He's not saying move in with me and I might. No, he's telling you out your mouth, I want to do 50-50. You know what I'm saying? I live here right now by myself. I got, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm good by myself right now in this house. But considering you're not my wife and you could be taking up half of the space, you got to pay half of the bills. That is so fair. That is so fair. You ask for opinion. You ask for a public opinion, by the way, so I'm giving it to you. I believe you are being unreasonable and you're not respecting his boundaries. From what you have said, you said he loves you. He's being very open. He's being very honest. Your opinion was, are you being unreasonable? And you are. You're being selfish. The fact that you're even bringing this on TikTok is crazy and shows that you aren't even ready to be married to begin with. So you need to go ahead and stop those conversations. It's very simple if you flip the script. There's certain things he want to reserve for his wife, and there's certain things you want to reserve for your husband, right? Right? Respect it. Just respect it or break up with him. I don't know what to tell you.
Is that selfish? Is it valid? Someone please tell me.
It is definitely not selfish. It's never selfish for you to advocate for yourself, especially when you're coming from a place of I'm just trying to speak on my behalf and get you to understand where I'm coming from so that we can meet in the middle. I think having a partner who doesn't want to be equitable in the relationship is kind of a red flag. And if he's talking about this idea of you guys getting married and then wanting to be the full-time provider for your family or your marriage while you stay home, it sounds to me like he just wants to be in control of your finances. Right now, he doesn't want to have an equitable split between the two of you. He wants it to be 50-50 because you guys aren't married yet, while also hearing you tell him that 50-50 isn't really 50-50 based on your incomes. So what happens when he is the sole provider? What's going to happen to you? Red flags. I think it makes perfect sense to not do a 50-50 split when your incomes are not equal to one another. I had this conversation like last year. Yeah, I make more money. It wouldn't be a 50-50 split if we were to move in with one another. We would have to sit down and figure out what our like fixed bills are and what percentage each of us should be, you know, throwing into the pot. Yeah, I think finances are the first like big conversation that you have as a couple, and I definitely think it's important to listen to them when they're telling you who they are, kind of a thing. You're not being unreasonable and you're not being selfish. And this whole idea of like, well, you want to move in with me because of blah blah blah. Girl, you have your own apartment, you pay your bills, you make less money, but you do all of that on your own. So for someone who loves you and cares about you to be making you feel like you would be moving in with them because you get something out of it monetarily when you're paying your bills is icky behavior, especially from a man who makes more than you do and doesn't pay for rent currently. It sounds like you're trying to be fair and compromise, and he's just trying to get the best deal possible if he has to actually start paying rent, which is shitty. Because if you're planning on building a life together, then build a life together. Be partners in it. What would it matter if you pay less for rent than he does if it's all going into the same pot anyways, so to speak? Like, your labor counts for something, your presence counts for something. Like, I don't know. I think it's weird. I don't think you're being unreasonable. I think it's a little icky. And I don't think that you should move with him. You've had your own place for, you said, a year and a half? Keep that going.
He said he can only provide for his wife. He can only be the main provider if she's the wife, and you are not his wife, and he's not going to marry you. Because if he's going to marry you, he will not use that statement. You know, when you have a boyfriend and your boyfriend is telling you, oh, the man that is going to marry you will be very lucky, definitely you should know that he's not going to marry you. He doesn't see you as somebody he wants to marry. And you leaving your space to come and live with him, your head, you're already seeing him as somebody you want to marry. So I just feel like there are a lot of red flags she needs to sit down and see. Aside from the fact that there's love, that you might love each other and all of that, but there's some actions and the way he speaks, you can understand what he means and what she means to him, right? And I feel like she's so in love with him that she's not going to see. That's what one of the creators was saying, like she's so in love with him that she's not going to see those red flags. And that's what we're talking about, red flags. So most of the time you are saying that what this person is doing is wrong, but then you're like, let me see, maybe I am the problem. You are not the problem. You're not the problem. You're seeing that this person, what the person is doing is wrong. That is it. But then because we're so much in love, we ignore the red flags and later on we blame ourselves, right? Because if he knows quite all right that is any more than you, why is he asking for equal pay? He knows that you can stay on your own and enjoy your own stay by yourself. Why is he asking you, or why did you guys even decide? Okay, both of you decided together to move in together, but then why does he want you to do 50-50 with him? Because at the end of the day, it's going to have more money, way more money than you. Your money is going to finish on time, and he's not going to give you money because he will tell you that both of you are splitting the bills. He doesn't have money as well. So doing the math, is going to have way money than you, and that doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. In fact, that is even saying you must do 50-50 with him. If you're moving in with him, I would advise don't move in with him. Stay on your own. Stay on your own. Am I the only one that's still moving in with your boyfriend? Is like, you're just giving yourself issues, because you can easily be on your own and enjoy yourself even in a relationship. But the moment both of you start living together, if you don't have problem before, you start having problem. Trust me. What's your take on this video? Let me know your thought down in the comment section Respectfully, as always, your girl Maria Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.